Today's podcast is sponsored by Lear Capital. Visit LearSara.com to receive up to $10,000 in free bonus coins based on the value of gold coins purchased. Guys, we have former House Intelligence Committee Chairman and now Trump Media and Technology Group CEO Devin Nunes on the program with us today. I'm so excited to have him on the show. He's also a very good friend, and we've been through a lot together. We went through the whole Russia hoax catastrophe together, and we're just hoping something's going to happen with John Durham's investigation. Guys, you do not want to miss this interview. I'm telling you, Devin is going to be talking about Truth Social. He's going to be talking about his thoughts and feelings on Elon Musk, the future of all of I think what is going to be now great companies, especially Truth Social and Trump Media, and what is happening with Elon Musk now, right? We're going to talk about all of that and how it's going to affect us. Also, what about the craziness of the Biden administration's new quote unquote ministry of truth? For reals? Are we in China? Where did I wake up? Did I just wake up? Like, did the universe just throw me into an alterverse? This new left Orwellian disinformation governance board under the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, is pretty scary stuff, folks. And I'm going to be talking to Devin about that too. Please follow and subscribe. I want you to get all your links at sarahacarter.com. That is sarahacarter.com. And while you are there, sign up for our email list so that you don't get shadow banned. All right, guys? Just sign up for the email list. I promise you, we'll be sending you stories straight to your inbox. You will see them. You will be able to link up with all of my social media posts with my website, and we're going to make sure that you stay informed. That's sarahacarter.com. Before I get to Devin Nunes, I want to talk to you about Healthycell. I really, really want to tell you how important this has been in my life. It's literally been a game changer for me when I'm out on the road. It's not about taking a bunch of vitamins, right? This is about taking a gel. It's a gel pack that is completely absorbable in your body. It is incredible. It makes you feel great. They have different types of supplements depending on what you need, right? So Healthycell is literally the next generation of dietary supplements. If you take supplements in pill form now, I'm telling you, change it. Change it. I'm out on the border. I'm in that heat. I'm, literally on the front lines of some of these stories. And there isn't always time for me to grab a bite to eat or eat healthy or do the right thing. But if I have Healthycell with me, it makes all the difference in the world. I have better recall. Physically, I feel better. Mentally, I feel better. It's just all around. That's why doctors and nutritionists created Healthycell. It's a great tasting ingestible gel with 165%, listen to that, more absorption than pills. I tried it and I ditched the pills, guys. Healthycell is also an immune super boost. And when you're around a lot of people like I am, it is very easy to get sick. And that is the main reason why I take it. So for those of you who are traveling a lot, those of you who just want to stay healthy, or those of you who feel like you just don't have energy anymore, just try Healthycell. Trust me, you're going to love it. Journey to better health with Healthycell.com. Go to healthycell.com/Carter. That's healthycell.com/Carter and use the promo code Carter for 20% off your first order. Again, that's healthycell.com/Carter. Promo code Carter for 20% off your first order. You can't beat that. Guys, I know that you and I both are probably on the same page about a lot of things. We probably don't agree on everything, but we're probably, as Americans, on the same page about a lot of things. We believe in freedom. We believe in liberty. We believe in, just the essentials that make our country so great. So when I was watching the news and watching as well the hearings with DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, I was just floored. First of all, I was floored, not just because of this whole quote unquote, this ministry of craziness, this ministry of we're going to investigate all of you truth. Not just that, but just how easily he lied. How easily he lied about the border, how easily he lied about what our federal agencies are facing out there on the border and our law enforcement agents, both the state, the local, and the federal, and also the humanitarian crisis that is at our border. He lied with ease. And I've learned something else. Mayorkas is trying to take money, doctors, and nurses away from the Veterans Administration to deal with the flood of illegal immigrants coming into the United States. I thought there wasn't a problem. What about our troops? What about the men and women like my husband who sacrificed everything for this nation and more that aren't going to get that kind of help? What about them? During his recent testimony before Congress, the Department of Homeland Security, Mayorkas, said and admitted and informed lawmakers that the Biden administration was considering diverting resources from the VA, from Veterans Affairs, to deal with the border crisis. You guys, I don't know how you're not infuriated about this. I am. I know you must be. I just don't understand how anyone can support this administration. Anyone with common sense. Anyone with common sense. I can tell you that it is very difficult, even now, for some of our military personnel, our soldiers, our troops, our Marines, to deal with the VA sometimes. We all saw those investigations that were going on at the Veterans Administration, but I can tell you this. They are doing everything that they can. I remember under the Trump administration, just how difficult it was. You know, trying to reformat, restructure the Veterans Administration, trying to get the help we need to our veterans who've basically sacrificed so much to protect this country. And now we're going to divert resources away from them. Away from them. When we know PTSD and veteran suicide is through the roof after 20 years of war in Afghanistan, America's longest war. Stopgap measures with guys going back and forth and gals going back and forth and having to come back, spending a good majority of their life over there away from their families. No, no, no. You better help Americans first. You better help Americans first, President Biden. This isn't America last. We're not going to put up with it. You know, you're not supposed to be leading from behind. Just like Obama, President Obama used to say, it makes me so mad. This is about us. This is about our veterans. This is about the men and women who serve our country. And you should never, ever think about diverting those resources away from them. I am a wife of a wounded warrior, a man. Our entire family was wounded. When my husband lost his eyesight, he did so knowing that he could lose his life serving his country, knowing that something could happen. But he did it not just for himself. He went out there and fought those terrorists on foreign lands so that he didn't have to and we didn't have to fight them here. Right? So that our children would be safe. And every single day, he lives with that war. We may have all gone on. May have all gotten tired of the war. Tired of the war. I remember hearing that all the time. Tired of the war. Well, okay. Tired of what? Tired of hearing about it? Because most of you, the majority of people, never fought there. Never did. I don't know what you're tired of. Maybe tired of hearing about it. Okay. But that is going to affect us. The people who have to live with that war for the rest of their lives. We cannot turn the war over. It's not a chapter of a book that we close completely. Because every single day of my husband's life, he will be blind unless something is invented to help him see again. And as a family, we all deal with it and we love him and we don't even judge it. We don't even think about it most of the times because we try not to. But it's there. But it's there and we live with it. Makes me sick to think that Biden would do that. Divert money away from our men and women in uniform, our veterans who serve this country, right, to help people at the border. And look, there's even more disturbing news. I'm not going to just stick with Alejandro Mayorkas and his lies, but look at what's happening in China. We know how America is dependent upon China for so many things now, including most of our generic drugs and antibiotics, which is totally insane. But did you know that our military is also dependent on China with the supply chain? There is a report that just has been released by the Department of Defense, and it details a critical threat to American national security. It's a 74-page report with 64 recommendations. The report warns that the United States' ability to defend itself is dependent on an even bigger threat than Russia. It's actually dependent upon communist China, which supplies our military with what it needs, including battery production, microelectronics, and metal casting. Guys, this is insane. We're already owned by China. That's what they're telling us. We can't even fight China unless China gives us the supplies to fight them. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? I'm going to put this up on my website. I'm going to put the report up on the website so that you can read it yourself, because I think the only way we are going to save ourselves from something really bad happening is for all of us, the American people, to pay attention to what's going on, vote out these lawmakers who are supposed to be representing us and putting Americans first, America first, and find lawmakers that are actually going to do that. November can't come fast enough. 2024 cannot come fast enough. Look, before I get to Devin Nunes, I want to talk to you a little bit about Mike Lindell and his great company, MyPillow. This is an American company. Exactly what we were talking about before. Support American companies. And I love the fact that Mike Lindell is a sponsor for this show. I believe in all of the products that we have on this show, and that's why we use them. And this special that Mike is giving to you, oh my gosh, it's a BOGO extravaganza. Yes, I did not know BOGO, but I know you do. It's a buy one, get one free extravaganza. You guys are gonna love this. Listen to this. MyPillow bed sheets as low as $59.98. Elegance MyPillows as low as $49.98. 6-piece towel sets, $79.98. Roll and go anywhere MyPillows, $29.98. And so much more. I love them. I love them. I love them. I love everything that Mike Lindell sells. I think it's great. I have it all in my house because I believe in it and I love it. And because not only does it help me support my own show, but it supports American companies. It's a buy one, get one free extravaganza at mypillow.com/Carter. Bed sheets and MyPillows are just the tip of the iceberg. Find the full list of BOGO offerings by visiting mypillow.com/Carter or call 1-800-685-7221. Stock up with buy one, get one free savings today and get Mike's book free with any purchase. mypillow.com/Carter or call 1-800-685-7221. mypillow.com/Carter. And now we got Devin Nunes, former California congressman and House Intelligence Committee chairman. He is now CEO of the Trump Media and Technology Group. I'm so grateful to have you on, Devin. It's been a while and there's been so much happening. Not only were you my favorite congressional lawmaker, but now you're CEO of Trump Media and Technology Group. And there's so much breaking out there. First and foremost, I got to ask you, how do you feel about the announcement from Elon Musk, all of the excitement generated around that, and the fact that Elon Musk tweeted out that Truth is actually the #1 social media out there right now on the App Store?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been just unbelievable last 10 days where we've been essentially at #1 or at least in the top 5 the last 10 days. So we've had, we're open. We can take everybody that wants to come on Apple Store, App Store right now. By the end of May, we hope we will be on the web browser. So you'll be able to access us from any device. And then after that, we'll be available at the Google Play Store. We're not sure. We don't have a timeline on that now because it's pending approval by Google, but we have a plan in place to get that done so that Android will also have an app in addition to be able to use the Android to get on through the web browser. So yeah, it's been an exciting time the last couple of weeks. We got moved over to the Rumble Cloud after kind of extensive testing during the first quarter, which Sarah, you were part of that. You were one of our first beta testers, so we appreciate you participating in that. But what people are seeing is just, I think they're realizing what it means to build a community, to have essentially 99.9% of all the people that are on the platform are not bots, not fake accounts. So it's making a big difference in just the engagement. And so the people who have gotten, going with this early on the platform, I think are just seeing tremendous results. And for most people that have been on the platform early, that are, people like yourself that are, kind of well-known content creators, they're getting more engagement on Truth than they are on not just Twitter, but also on Instagram. And
I agree. And I've noticed that. And I think, like you brought up Android, everybody keeps asking me about Android. If you talk to Devin, ask him when we're going to get it on Android. So you're thinking around the end of May, right?
Well, no, it'll be available by the end of May on any device. But I think there's a difference. So you'll be able to access it from your Android or your laptop or anything else that you have through a web browser, right? Progressive web app. But I think what a lot of people want to see is the Android app, being on the Google Play Store. That's a work in progress. It's not going to be by the end of the month, but we're going to get it as fast as we can. But regardless, no matter what device you have, by the end of May, you'll be able to get on and access your account through your web browser.
Well, thanks for clarifying that. One of the issues I think that even Twitter has had, and especially I think Elon Musk pointed it out, and because of the platform, I don't think it's been utilized to its full potential. And I really believe that, with Truth, there are so many facets to Truth, what we could do with it, what you could do with it. And now, connecting with Rumble, which I think is an awesome platform for getting out information, for free speech, for the First Amendment. Are there any ideas you are toying around with, like when it comes to making the platform something bigger, something more, something user generated that would, I believe, surpass what we've seen in the past with Twitter?
Well, to be clear, we're not Twitter. So we're not trying to be Twitter. And, I think a lot of people associate Donald Trump, who founded this company, with Twitter because that's what he liked to do. So, but what we're trying to do is we're building a community and we're looking at all the, let's be honest, where are the users at? The users are flocking to TikTok and Instagram. Even Facebook is starting to lose, I believe too, but those are the big three. That's where the users are. Twitter is more of a global PR wire. It's like an Associated Press PR wire that celebrities and people put their press releases out on. And I don't have an issue with that. I'm all for it. And in fact, you asked me and I didn't answer the question, I don't think, because we never got to it. But President Trump wanted to give the American people their voice back and open up the internet. And that's why I left Congress to come and carry out that mission. So we are all about Elon Musk or anybody else that wants to take on these tech tyrants. So it was good to see him step up. If Twitter can be improved at all, that's a good thing. But to your point, and you already see it on our platform because you've used it. So we're continuing to add features. We will roll out features every week to 2 weeks, new features that we will add. But one of the things we're really proud of on our platform is that the pictures, the photos, and the video are very, very good. And that's only going to get better. Now, why is that? Because we know that people like to have the video and pictures because we know the success of Instagram and TikTok. So we're going to try to take the best of all of these platforms, put it into one platform so that everyone feels, like they have a high quality and high reliability, but probably most importantly, it's where people know they're going to be safe, in a safe environment, in terms of not able to be canceled, not to have people come in, on the platform and do illegal activity. So, I like to say we're family friendly, but we're not going to censor political speech, right?
That's
we're not
common sense, right? That's common sense. So I got to ask you, how do you feel about what's happening right now? You're the CEO of Truth Social and Trump Media, and we're seeing that the Biden administration is creating this quote unquote Ministry of Truth governance board of disinformation led by a woman that really, I'm glad she gave up her day job if it was singing, but it was just Nina Jankowicz. But how do you feel about that? It's, as much as I laugh about it, I'm actually alarmed by it.
Well, and you should be. I couldn't even believe that this was the case and that this happened. And then they would put it at the Department of Homeland Security. Look, my goal is this, that, I really believe that part of what their scheming is they know that Truth cannot be shut down. Truth Social cannot be shut down. They can't just call up Bezos and Amazon and say, hey, cut the cords, right? That can't be done anymore because we're on Rumble's cloud. And we have basically insulated ourselves from any of these woke corporations that would try to cancel us or cause us problems. So where does that leave us moving forward? I strongly believe, I mean, you look at the messaging from Obama, Clinton, the EU, all of this was kind of projecting because, this company was essentially, they know we started this testing back in early February. They know by the end of February, we were already getting more engagement than on other platforms. So I think they went through all the legal process here. And I think, look, there's no question that we're going to be one of their targets. But what I've said clearly is, we're not going to treat them as anything but a propaganda arm of people who want to censor free speech. And we are a uncancelable platform, and we're not going to tolerate it. We're going to protect our users on Truth Social so that these, internet censors can't come in and try to mess with us. We're just not going to let it happen. And you're exactly right. One thing is that, it's like a D-list TikTok star that's the queen of disinformation, whether it's the Hunter laptop from hell, or it's claiming that it was Russian disinformation, or going back to the Russia hoax. I mean, you can't make it up that this is probably the last person that should be in charge of some disinformation unit of the United States government. Not to mention that this is just completely Orwellian, dystopian, only the stuff that dictators do. But we are committed at Truth to defending our users from this type of tyranny.
Let me ask you this, because there have been so many people that have asked me, what can Congress do? Well, they don't need to fund a DHS governance board of disinformation. They don't need to fund it, right? I mean, do you think that can happen? Is it even plausible with the Dems right now and with 3 more years of Biden left?
I can't believe that they were willing to do this with all of the problems, kind of putting my old political hat back on and just kind of being an analyst now that I'm on the outside. I mean, in the face of everything that's happening, I mean, one thing that clearly True Social beginning and our goal of establishing a beachhead against these big tech tyrants, we're being successful. Then you look at, with all the news out there with Elon Musk basically pointing out that there's a lot of bots, a lot of fake accounts, that they've been silencing people. With all of that out there, why would you come out with this disinformation governance board at this time? I mean, it's almost like they're politically tone deaf, and they're willing to do anything and everything to hold on to power, to hold on to be able to use their propaganda arm. They weren't for all this when they control all the big tech companies, but now we have given a place for millions of Americans to get their voice back. And by the way, one of the things we didn't talk about is, eventually we will open up globally also, right? As soon as we feel comfortable, I
was actually going to ask you about that, because this is a global medium, right? This isn't just an American medium. I have people contacting me from Canada. I have people that reach out to me from Japan, from other parts of the world. So give us the inside scoop into that. I mean, I'm really excited about that.
So kind of what we're focused on first was to get the Apple app perfect, right? And we feel like we've got it. It's lightning speed. We've been able to bring on as many people as we need. There's been no issues. So the next step is to then launch the web app, right? So the progressive web application, so that anyone can get it from anywhere they are on the internet. That's kind of step 2. And then, of course, the Google Play Store. All the while, we will be making feature upgrades as we go. Then we will have to decide, I don't know at what point, and we haven't decided what countries, but we'll probably slowly open up into other countries around the globe. And a lot of that will depend on those countries' laws, because we don't want to be beholden and put our users at some risk to some, rogue government that wants to, that's not for free speech. And, we're watching the EU very closely because, they're on a very slippery slope with some of the laws that they're talking about implementing in the European Union. So we'll look to where we can go first, and then we'll slowly roll that out. But I fully expect that, probably not in May, but I would say we probably get serious about it in June and July about where we would open up globally.
I think that's such a brilliant move, because you have to think that way. I mean, these social media platforms, is what Elon Musk calls the new town squares. which we have called that for some time, is a place where people can go and generate ideas and talk to one another and expose what's happening. I mean, we're seeing what's happening in China. Why? Because some people are sneaking videos out. They're posting it on these social media platforms. So as bad as some of them have been, they're also there for good because we're able to see truth, right? We're able to either connect with it or talk about it or spread the word, spread the truth so people understand in a democracy. I was going to ask you this because we have the midterms coming up. Devin, we've got, midterms here, November, election cycle coming through. We have 2024. These platforms are essential. And what worries me is that we have this new governance board of disinformation. And like you said, these Democrats, they're not afraid. Right. They're out there spouting things that I can't even believe. I don't believe that they're tone deaf. I just believe that they're grabbing power.
What they are, but this is the thing, is they're not going to be able to touch us, right? So because we're not going to cooperate with any kind of rogue, crazy government scheme. And we are going to, and they can't cancel us. Like I said, so we're that. It's not just that we're trying to take the best of Instagram and the best of TikTok and the best of Facebook and put it all into one place so that people have that uncancelable location. But also we want people to feel comfortable with the management and the ownership of this company that, we are never going to take away people's rights to political speech. So we're here to stay. We're not going anywhere. And it's going to frustrate them, but what are they going to do? I mean, I even said yesterday, I think they were talking about Elon Musk. Some of the Senate or House was threatening to subpoena him before Congress and have him come testify. And I said, look, I'll gladly come and testify. You don't have to subpoena me. You invite me, I'll go. Not a problem to answer any of these questions. And I would bet, Sarah, that all you're going to be able to hear are crickets. I don't think I'm going to get my invitation to go back to speak to my old colleagues. What do you think?
I don't think you're going to get that invitation either because you know what's been going on. In fact, you and I discussed this long time ago where we all saw all of a sudden our accounts become very stagnant, very few retweets. We couldn't figure out what was going on. We have over 1 million followers, but it didn't seem like even the message was getting out there. As soon as Elon took over, not even days afterwards, all of a sudden when there was a lockdown, and Bloomberg actually broke that story, there was a lockdown, they told people to get out of the system. All of a sudden, all the conservative accounts were like bouncing up by the tens of thousands, some people over 100,000. Even Laura Ingraham was like, well, wait a minute. I just got my 100,000 back that disappeared 2 years ago. Yeah. So there's algorithms, right? There's algorithms.
Yeah, there's a reason why. I mean, it was not worth it for me any longer to post on those platforms because it was essentially just a waste of my time to even post because I was being blocked by all of them. And in fact, the only one I really stayed on posting was Instagram, just because I liked Instagram. I like to put, as you know, Sarah, I'm an ag guy. I like wine. I like to grill. So I kind of
I love your Instagram. I vicariously live through your barbecues, like whenever you have them or put out a new wine or something.
Well, I used to use that a lot. Well, now the good thing is that Truth is built in a way that I can do the same thing on Truth, and I have been doing that. But my point about the Instagram, even though I wasn't really using Instagram for politics or, when I was in Congress, I was basically just I kind of liked it. But even then I got, I never got above 100,000 users or followers, I mean. And, how is that possible when, we know Instagram's got, 100 million plus Americans. I mean, legit, maybe more. Like half of my family is on, just in my local area, half of them are on Instagram. None of them are on, only very few are left on Facebook. None of them are on Twitter. Probably the younger kids in my family are on TikTok. But how's it possible that, I would be stuck at just 100,000?
Me too.
I know from, that's why I went to Parler when Parler was launched. I quickly got up to over 3 million followers on Parler, even though, I don't know what Parler hit at their peak. The same thing as with Rumble. I got tired of posting on YouTube because if there could have been negative views for my podcast, it would have been negative views on my podcast.
Tell
right?
everyone about Rumble, because Rumble is your
Yeah.
partner. I love Rumble. I love the guys that run Rumble. I think that this is the most beautiful partnership ever, work with Rumble and Truth. And I think it's brilliant. Tell everyone a little bit about Rumble.
The story. So the story goes that I had my podcast, which you'd been on before, and I started video, and I was putting it up to YouTube, and that's what I was saying. I went to like almost negative views. Like there was like, you couldn't even find my podcast when you would just search it. So I went to Rumble. So I had 9,000 followers on YouTube. And I didn't know if that was good or bad. 9,000, hey, that's great. 9,000 people sounds wonderful. They're following me. I'm appreciative of it. Well, I got to Rumble, a platform no one who had ever heard of before. And in 3 weeks, I had 35,000 followers. In 3 months, I almost had 400,000 followers. So how did that happen? Right? It happened because there was a free and open internet. And when I put my video out there and then I emailed it out and shared it with everybody, they went and joined Rumble because they wanted to view my podcast. So the amount of suppression that's been done by these big tech tyrants, I don't think we even have a clue. But I think those people that were on Truth Social at the very beginning, especially people like you, people that are content creators, that do a good job and are very, very creative. We showed it right out of the gate during our beta testing that you were being suppressed somehow, because it's impossible at our nascent stage that all of these prominent people would be getting more engagement on during our beta test period. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And look, even today, look at what's happening on our platform, and we're only open on Apple. And look at what's happening. I mean, it's just, posts are going crazy. And we're just, and which we're very thankful for all the users we have, but wait until we open this up to not just anybody who has any device, but then later the Google Play Store, and then later globally. We're going to be able to show what not using algorithms and censoring really does. And you know what, on that point, Sarah, this is probably important for people to know. So on Truth, on our feed, we don't use an algorithm. So it's chronological. So if Sarah, if you put something in at 7:00 and I put something in at 7:05 and somebody's following us, it's going to be in that order. So it's important for people to understand that when if they're looking for something that maybe I posted early in the morning, you're not going to see it in your feed if you follow a lot of people, because you're probably only going to see, that last, if you're following hundreds and hundreds of people, that you're probably only going to be able to go scroll back, not through the whole day. So you may have to go specifically to a page of that person to see what they posted earlier in the day.
Chronological, go to someone's post, go to their page to see if you want to check out what they've done all day. You can go onto their page and get that, see their posts. It may not show up on your post. I think that's brilliant. No, that's smart. I do that anyways, even on other platforms. I love Truth because I love this idea of putting all of this together and being able to deliver that package. And I'm getting better at it, and I'm starting to figure it out even more. And it's really simple and easy. And that's what I love about it. I
think the key really is for our content creators is that, like you, and when I say that, meaning, I don't know if you like being called a content creator, but because obviously you're a journalist.
No, I like it. I'm a columnist, content creator, investigative columnist now. So that's what I do. I mean, I have an opinion. I've told everybody I have one. I'm not trying to be anybody else. I was a journalist for a very long time and very, very proud of it. But I could not believe what happened during the investigation into President Trump and the Russia hoax. And I'm going to ask you about that in a minute, but because Durham is definitely digging up a lot of good, juicy emails and all kinds of important things. And I saw you on Maria Bartiromo, and I thought you were brilliant talking about it. But go ahead. I will let you do this before we get to Durham.
Well, I just want to, So whether you're you're producing news, and by the way, I don't know if you've seen it on the platform, but we have the greatest meme makers. I mean, these guys make these cartoons. They're really super funny. Of course, they're always making one of me, which is really funny too. me dancing and all this funny stuff. But we've got a bunch of them that just make the greatest memes, right? So what you have to do is it's kind of important. Like if you want your followers, you need to kind of hit that morning group. So you need to post something in the morning so people that are on in the morning see something that you post kind of midday, and then also moving into the evening during prime time. That's kind of the way to do it. You have to space it out so that you're making sure you're hitting different people that get on during different times. That's just kind of a little, little bit of advice. And I think one of the things you don't want to do, and I've got one of my neighbors back in California, first time on social media. He was on no platforms before, and he just loves it. He's a retired guy, and he just loves going through it. But he hasn't figured out that he retruths everything. So I had to tell him, I'm like, you realize if you retruth everything, your followers, you're going to fill up your followers' feed, and they're not going to follow you anymore. So it's little things like that.
I am guilty of sometimes retruthing things.
Well, retruths are good, but you can't do like 50 retruths in a row, or everybody you follow is going to get hammered by Sarah Carter's retruths. Like,
see?
I think I might do 2 or 3 or 4 in a row, right? If I'm able, look, I get paid to be on this platform, which is kind of cool job to have. But
yeah.
Sometimes I'm doing an interview or whatever, I'm off it for a while, and I'll get back and I'm like, oh, let me retweet, because I want to make sure that people, that follow me, know what I'm kind of interested in and think a good story to read. But I'll never go over 2, 3, or 4 retweets, because I don't want it to be like whoever's following me, all of a sudden they've got the Devin Nunes feed and everybody else is crowded out.
Right. It's such a good point. And that's something that I'm going to take to heart now. And I'm just going to focus on that all week. Everybody just follow me on truth. And we are going to practice together to be the best truthers out there. Because I think that's like a real good lesson. I didn't know that. And I'm going to take that to heart.
What we should do too is when you post the podcast,
right.
And you send it out, I think it'll be good too, because we've covered a lot in here for, I think, new users. And if you put that into your kind of description of the podcast, it'd be good for everybody to know that, because I think this is important for people to hear that are new to social media.
I absolutely agree with you. We're going to do that. I'm going to have the producers help me. We're going to do that. We're going to put a little graphic, and probably just, if you could send me the points, and we'll pull the points from this interview. I think we're going to have like a great beginner learning experience here, and we're going to be awesome truthers. I want to ask you about Durham, because this has been so frustrating. I know it's been so many years for all of us, just waiting for some kind of justice, where I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Michael Sussman, everybody knows he's been indicted. He was Hillary Clinton's attorney, the DNC attorney. And right now we're seeing that Fusion GPS, all those emails between journalists and media, major media outlets.
Yeah.
Right.
Imagine that. So look,
are we ever going to get any justice here, Devin? The work that you put into it, all the work that Kash Patel put into it.
I would say this, that first of all, there were only a few investigative reporters who actually did the work on this, and you were one of them, that really deserve the credit, because there were very few people. The fake news was completely bought in, hook, line, and sinker, so much so. And I think probably Lee Smith did probably one of the best jobs, because he really was able to piece together that, how did these fake news outlets come out with a story that then the Clinton campaign was putting out on social media and talking about either the day before, story comes out day after. And, there was a circumstantial case that Lee Smith built in his book about, hey, it's impossible that I can't remember how many journalists, he must have named 10 or 15 of them. He named them. I don't think he made too many friends, but he called them all out and said, look, you guys were just taking fabricated information from the Clinton campaign, Fusion GPS, and the DNC. He made that claim in the book. And now you notice nobody ever challenged him. Well, now we see why, because Sussman and all these guys, they're all fighting the courts. And they're saying that this is all privileged, and then Durham is just hammering them with direct evidence. And boom, lo and behold, all of these emails come out, and they were doing exactly what Lee Smith said. And Lee Smith didn't even have the emails. He just pieced it all together. And now we know why they never came after him, because these aren't even reporters. Like, these people should all be embarrassed. And it's part of why the reason I'm here at Truth, and I want to open up the lines of communications, free open the internet, give people their voice back. So many people don't know what we're talking about right now, Sarah, because they don't know the names, they don't know the reporters, but this is sick stuff that happened. I mean, you essentially had, direct a made up story that was slanderous and defamatory to President Trump when he was a candidate, Carter Page, all of these players. Their lives got destroyed. Some lives got totally destroyed. You could argue that President Trump didn't even get to, he was constantly under attack for this nonsense, right? And then you take even like me in the House Intelligence Committee, like we had to investigate it, and I'm glad we got to the bottom of it. And I want to see Durham indict more people and follow through on all of this. But think about what this did for the country. You had the House Intelligence Committee that was traditionally non-political, that is supposed to be working on figuring out, working with our allies, figuring out where there's opportunities overseas, looking at intelligence, working with our military. It's a big important role in the Congress, but yet for 5 years we did nothing but this Russia hoax, Ukraine hoax nonsense. It was a waste of time, a waste of money, hurt a lot of people. And look, we were just lucky that we had people like you and Lee Smith, John Solomon,
right,
Hannity, the very few people that were willing at that time in early 2017 when I came out there and said, this is a bunch of, what? And, there were only a few real investigative journalists because we didn't know each other. We didn't have I didn't know.
I didn't even know Trump. The only thing I knew was John Solomon sent me the first time I ever met Trump. And I would tell people, I don't know him. I have no reason to be a buddy or try to protect him or anything. I went to do an interview with him in 2016 twice when I got sent by Sinclair News Group. That was all I knew about President Trump until I got approached by sources who were revealing how dangerous a situation we were in America. And by the way, I'm going to go one step further than you, Devin. I believe that the operation that was conducted against President Trump and the American people was literally a lethal operation that had our CIA had to conduct this operation overseas against a foreign leader, our CIA officers would literally have to get authorization from the President of the United States to do it. A disinformation campaign against a world leader. But our own officials, senior officials, and members of these agencies that we entrusted actually conducted an operation against their own president.
Yeah, no,
and against you.
It's really startling. And I think that, look, there is a third of America, 40% of America that understands this. Because so many people follow the Russia hoax still to this day because they want to see justice. They want to see all of these people brought to justice. But it is a good point. And what I've said about Durham is the whole country is really counting on Durham to get this right because the DOJ and the FBI are completely broken. Look, this even leaks down into the military. There's so many people who are involved in all of this. But the fact that all these people would think it's okay to get in bed with a political campaign to dirty up not just a presidential candidate, but all the people whose lives they ruined, for their grasp at power, it really is, the biggest scandal in U.S. history, which is what Lee Smith called it, at least in modern U.S. history. It's a major scandal, and you're going to have half of America who's, especially now that we're opening the internet back up through Truth.
Right.
You're going to have half of America who, until justice is served, they are not going to trust the DOJ and the FBI. And I'll tell you, and look, this latest nonsense that we talked about earlier in the show of this disinformation board, they're just pouring, gasoline on the fire, and it's just got to stop. So, look, it looks to me like Durham is doing what the American people expect him to do, and hopefully he'll continue to drop direct evidence out there, and hopefully these guys will be prosecuted. And I think ultimately what everybody wants to know, they've got some high-level people now, but are these people that have been indicted, are they going to take the fall for dirty cops at DOJ and FBI, the Clinton campaign, and the DNC? I think, do they want to go to jail to protect those people? That's because I don't believe these guys concocted it, right? I think somebody had to have given the order. Somebody had to know that these people at DOJ and FBI, it's not believable that they didn't know this was going on. And look, I'll go one step further just to put a final touch on it. We're in a situation now where it is impossible to believe that the Mueller and all the Mueller investigation, that whole team, didn't know what was going on. I mean, I'm not saying they weren't involved in 16 and 7, in that whole hoax, but in 17, I mean, they took over and did a bunch of fake prosecutions, knowing the whole time that the FBI and DOJ were involved in this damn thing. So, look, I know Mueller was, basically like Biden is today. He didn't know what the hell was going on.
Mm-hmm. But Andy McCabe did.
But all of those guys had to know, including people high up, even during the Trump administration, they had to know. I mean, how many times did they block our investigation from moving forward? I mean, we had to fight and fight and fight. And, the whole time they were, dirtying me up, constantly. I mean, it's what made it so obvious to me that if you guys are really coming after me this much, you all have done something really, really bad. And of course, now we knew it was bad, Sarah, but I think even you didn't know it was this bad, what Durham's been able to find.
No, I didn't. I mean, I knew it was horrible. I knew it was bad. I understood by working overseas when I covered the war zones. I knew about, authorizations from intelligence agencies and what it takes to do a disinformation campaign or a PSYOPs campaign. But I never realized how deep the tentacles went into our bureaucracy and how deadly and dangerous this game was. Because you're right, it wasn't just Trump. It wasn't just Carter Page. It was every single American that believed in our system, that believed in the American electoral system. It was every single American that voted. It was every single one of us, because now we're just a divided nation. We've got fascists running these companies, which is why you're at Truth Now and with President Trump at Trump Media, which I'm so, okay. Is there any hint?
Just to be clear, we have fascists, because see, the fake news will take this out of context here.
Okay.
Fascists running the big tech tyrant companies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Truth,
Fascists.
Truth, we're taking them off.
No, that's why you started Truth. I mean, you have, and that's why Elon Musk took over Twitter. We have fascists running these big tech companies that we've never seen before. I'm going to throw Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg. These guys are doing the bidding of the government. You guys it's incredible. It's incredible. Setting the stage, setting it apart, saying we want to get back to American values. Let me ask you this before I let you go, because I know you got a heart out. You got to run. We know about Truth, but it's Trump Media. It's Trump Media. Are we going to see more?
Trump Media and Technology Group. So, what we're looking right now, our whole focus is on, making Truth Social the very best social media platform that we can, that can't be canceled. And then once that is finished, we'll always continue to make improvements to it. But we're going to look at any other area where these woke corporates working with the hard left are cutting out the American people. And it's kind of this, Dan Bongino likes to call it the parallel economy. Mm-hmm. We're going to look for any avenue there where we see people are getting blocked out of the internet. And we see an opportunity to take a business and bring it in and fold it into ours. We're going to do it. But look, at this point, there's, right now we're just focused on getting the social media up and going. But that's why we call it the Trump Media and Technology Group, because we want to be that rising tide that lifts all boats. We want to be that, so we want to try to help the whole ecosystem, right? And that's kind of, we'll finish with what we started on. And that's why, when Elon Musk, when it was rumored that he was going to be buying Twitter, President Trump said, I hope he buys it, hope he can make it better. And, we hope more Elon Musk step up. I mean, if they could, take out, some of these other companies, it would be great. But we all ought to be concerned that, look at TikTok is where all the young people are going, and it's owned by China.
It's owned by China. And you as the former head chairman of the Intelligence Committee understand how dangerous that is. And we should be spending more time in America, actually, this Congress and the Senate, spending more time investigating what China is doing here inside our country and what our enemies are doing to us than going after the American people. They're not the enemy. Thank you so much, Devin.
Thank you, Sarah. It's been fun, and we'll get this out there. I look forward to seeing it on Truth when you post it.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to go on Truth first before anybody else. So grateful to have Devin Nunes on, and I will bring him back next month to give us more updates. There are so many questions I have about truth, but I want to bring you all some, I think this is heartbreaking news really quick, and I want us to think about it, and I hope you all pay attention. Please do, especially if you have children, even if you don't, just for your family's sake, pay attention to this, and for your sake. You know, most of you know that I live in Texas now, but until last fall, I lived in Virginia for many years. Just outside of Washington, D.C. Well, one of the communities there is now mourning the deaths of 2 teenagers due to a crisis that I tell you about all the time. It's the reason why I'm down on the border all the time. It's the reason why I believe these stories are so important. And that is fentanyl poisoning. And I call it poisoning because many people have no idea that they are ingesting fentanyl when they do. And by the way, the majority of that fentanyl is precursor chemicals that were shipped from China with knowledge of the Chinese government, brought to Mexico, mixed in Mexico by the drug cartels, brought into the United States. And once they sell these counterfeit pills on the street that look like Percocet, that look like Oxycontin, that look like Adderall or anything else, they launder that money back through Chinese banks. Ask me if I think this is irregular warfare on our nation by China, and I will tell you 100% I believe that. Some people may disagree with me, but I believe that the Chinese use the drug cartels as a proxy to target our country, and we are the victims of that. We need to wake up and pay attention. I want to read this to you. This was part of the email parents in Prince William County received a few days ago from Superintendent LaTanya McDade. And this is really hard. Dear PWCS, Prince William County, families, employees, and community. Top of mind right now is the report from the Prince William Police Department of the deaths of 2 local teens. We are saddened by these deaths, and our thoughts and prayers are with their families. Both deaths appear to be connected to counterfeit forms of the drug Percocet, sometimes referred to as Purse 30. The police have shared that the counterfeit drugs in both incidents were primarily tested and confirmed as being laced with fentanyl. Let me explain this to you. They say laced with fentanyl a lot, but I went to the Houston crime lab and I was there, and some of these pills are just pure fentanyl with whatever they cut it with. There's like no Percocet in it at all. It looks exactly like a Percocet, though. I can tell you that. That much I can tell you. For most of us, we would never be able to tell the difference between a counterfeit Percocet and a real Percocet. So please, please, please tell your children that no matter what anybody tells them, if they say this was my mom's from a pharmacy, this was my dad's, tell them that they must never take a pill that is given to them by somebody else, that the only pills that they should ever take that can ever be trusted are the ones given to them by your own family doctors or their doctor or your doctor. Do not trust anyone, because people think these pills really are legit, and they are not. And they are not. And it will be like playing Russian roulette. 40% of all the counterfeit pills pulled off the streets by the DEA last year, 40% of them had 2 milligrams or more of fentanyl in them, enough to kill a grown man. You guys, it is playing with fire. It literally is a deadly, deadly game. Do not take a pill that is not prescribed to you by your doctor. And I would love for you to go to my website. If you want to share this information with your kids and find out more information, you can go to my nonprofit, thedarkwire.com. That's THEDARKWIRE.com. We did a movie several years ago, a documentary that was a nonprofit documentary. It's on that website that will show you what is happening, not only on our border, but in our communities and with fentanyl and heroin addiction. And by the way, I hope to update that documentary and do another one. I think it's so much worse now. Again, thank you so much for being a part of the Sarah Carter Show. I usually like to end on a high note, but I think the high note will be saving lives. So if that message gets out there and you can just save one person's life by giving them the accurate information about what's going on in our streets, I think we've done our job. Remember, you could go to sarahacarter.com. That's sarahacarter.com for all the links to all of my social media sites, as well as, leaving me a review or downloading the podcast wherever you get your podcast. Go to Apple, Spotify, you know the drill. And by the way, thank you so much for being a part of my life. I love being a part of yours. And I will continue to do so. I'll be bringing more great guests on this show, on the Sara Carter Show. We'll sit down and have a talk. I wish I could get Elon Musk on the show. That would be amazing. But I don't know. Am I reaching too high right there? I don't think so. I had Devin Nunes on, and I think he's incredible. So we'll see. Anyways, God bless you. God bless our great nation. And God bless all the families out there dealing with addiction and trying to save their children. Thank you. I'm so happy to have Kevin McDermott here with me on the Sara Carter Show. He is the founder of Lear Capital. I'm sure you all have heard of Lear Capital. Economists are saying right now that they warn that there could be a recession around the corner. You're saying a recession could be around the corner. What do we do if that happens? What do Americans do? Because a lot of Americans were riding high on the stock market for several years. Now they've got to figure out a new way to invest their money. Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, when the economy slows down, when you increase those interest rates, typically, like you saw in 2000, 2002 with the NASDAQ, and 2008, again with real estate and stocks, higher interest rates broke the back of the investments that were doing very well. Well, the investments that are doing well now are the same ones we saw in 2008. So what kind of investment do you look at that is negatively correlated, that goes the opposite direction of stocks and real estate when interest rates are rising? And one of those investments is precious metals. Gold and silver do a very, very good job as a hedge against inflation, and they do a good job when the stock market and real estate markets fall backwards to move up in value and offset some of those losses. So that would be a great place to start.
Let me share a website just for my listeners to learn more about adding gold and precious metals to their portfolios heading into times of financial uncertainty like we are. Visit learsara.com, LearSara.com. You will not regret it.